So this isn't so unheard of. This is a little more Sam-esque, and especially back when I was in school. 9 o'clock, only just now departing for the workouts, and for some it's like, dude, you're taking pre-workout this late. Like, can you still sleep fine? And for me, yes, I do sleep. But I think I gotta not do these late workouts as much, because as much as, like, I mean, I've even had times where I was like, okay, let's stay up late and study or do this project or whatever, drink whatever, so I got 200 milligrams of caffeine in my system, lay down and go to bed. Like, I don't get that wiredness from caffeine, so I don't know what, because it's a gradient. Some guys take 50 milligrams, they have a cup of coffee at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they're wired, they can't go to sleep that night. So, but as much as I can still go to sleep, I know the caffeine is kind of throwing off my deep REM. I still wake up feeling pretty rested, so I'm not going to wake up tomorrow morning for cardio and be like, oh, I had a late workout. Like, not to that extent, but I do think I should probably chill and maybe make these a bit more on the earlier side. Maybe give myself a cutoff time of like 6 for caffeine. Even just for the sake of routineness, because that's going to help. But no, so I can guarantee there will be nobody in the gym hitting legs. I actually know the owner of this place, so there's nothing stopping me. Right? There's nothing stopping me from getting from point A to point P. Right? P being pumped for legs. So legs changes a little bit now that I'm dieting down, because I'm not just, honestly, from eating as much food as I eat in an off season, extra protein, I just carved up and full of everything, my knees feel much more bulletproof, right, in the sense that I'm squatting pretty much once a week wild, still heavy leg press, but dieted down, they're a little bit more tender. Not like baseline, but they can be. Like, if I do insane hefty squats and it's too much, and maybe my recovery system is already a little off, then by the time maybe the next day or 2 days later, I can feel it just a touch, right? So that's where I'm going to value a little bit more warm up, especially in leg extensions, just getting my knees ready, rather than like just jumping straight to a wild set of whatever, But we'll see. I'm not sure how legs are going to look. My approach last prep, which worked pretty well. My legs never shrink. Like, they don't just atrophy while I'm dieting down, as long as I hit them. But what I was doing last time was I would do hamstrings one day, quads the next. So really I was only hitting legs once a week, but I would split it up. So one leg day was hamstrings, the other one was quads, and then just go back and forth like that. Especially for quads, because they're just such a big ass muscle. It kind of takes a little bit more recovery to get them back up to working order. Like, if I thrash chest like I did 3 days ago or 2 days ago, either one, well, guess what? It's ready. I don't feel like, even right now, if you said, Sam, you got to do chest instead of legs today, my chest is good, right? I can hit some stuff. But legs, or quads specifically, if you really hit them, you almost have to chill out on that frequency. Or at least in my situation, I can tell that I did. Because you can't come in, or at least I don't think it's probably ideal, to come into a lift with the targeted muscle still sore, like substantially worked from the last time, So it's kind of like I've got 3 sliders, and I just had to pull one of them back, which is the food, which kind of corresponds to overall recoverability. How quick you can freaking get your legs back to ready and squat or leg extension or whatever again. So it kind of puts me in a position of like, all right, well, what do I change then? If I can't handle insane full leg days every leg day, then do I back off on intensity? Do I back off on volume? Do I back off on frequency? Like, what do I have to change so that I can still stimulate my quads, maintain substantial, I mean, if not maintain all size, but also substantial strength, and not overdo it, you know? So it's dieting down to a little bit more balancing act-ish. You know, I've been saying a little bit like it's hard to do too much with your training. I mean that more in a, you know, at least maintaining slash off-season kind of situation. Because dieting down, I do think you could potentially do more than necessary at the very least. So I'm trying to hit that sweet spot of obviously going hard, right? Stimulating, not exactly hypertrophy, because obviously I'm not growing right now because I'm dieting, but just maintenance in size and not overdo it. So that's my quarrel. So I'm not so deep into this diet yet that I think I have to go quads once a week and hamstrings once a week. So I'll still hit both of them tonight. But that's something which is going to change going forward. I'm going to have to make a little bit of a executive decision and say, all right, we got to back it off. Either still do like hamstrings and then quads on separate days, once a week each, like I did last time. Maybe just do one leg day a week instead of 2 full ones, and then give myself, maybe use that other day as a rest day. You know, throw a rest day in the mix. I'm not completely opposed to that either, you know. So we'll see. Right, that's where I think the real answer isn't exactly like asking someone for their advice and like just listening only to what one guy says about the situation. It's kind of trying some stuff out for yourself, seeing what works, seeing what maybe doesn't, and then adjusting from there. You know, so that's my point with legs, which are going to kind of change going forward. But regardless of pulling back in the future and maybe backing off on the heft of everything, tonight I'm going to bring it as much as possible. So we'll see. I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking exactly. I know I'm going to start with hamstrings, definitely a little bit more. I mean, hamstrings ends up being lower volume anyway, because the work from any kind of leg press ties hamstrings in. So if I do 4 sets of hamstring curls and then 2 sets of decently heavy leg press, hamstrings are getting hit on those sets of leg press. So that's where I think hamstrings you can kind of chill on their direct volume as long as you still maintain their indirect volume, if you kind of get what I'm saying there. But yeah, we'll see. So hamstrings first, and then we'll just see what I can do for quads. Overall, I'm hydrated, I'm rested. Cardio felt really good this morning, so I know I got some gas in the tank. So I think there's nothing else to say except for going in there and making this shit freaking happen. So let's go for it. All right. Hard to go wrong with some seated hamstring curls. This will be a good start. So what I'm really thinking, beyond like a classic, you know, whatever, squeezing, let's start a little hefty. So like initially, feel sweet, right? Strong. So I was thinking about starting with like half the stack, really holding it and burning it. But I think I might change it up a touch and instead go for a little more just heft. Like, I'm not going to hurt myself, of course, but let's just make this one a straight set. Nothing fancy. I'm going to squeeze and hold it at the bottom. But the actual workload is just the fact that each rep is so heavy, you can't do a ton. So I think a few just classic heavy sets like that, then we can move on. Oh my God. That was good. Yeah, let's run that shit back. That was solid. Oh, one more like that, and then I'll move on to something a little lighter, squeezing. Whew. Oh my God. Oh, all right. Let's do a laying curl. Woo. All right. Microphone died, so we got to go on the camera. Probably didn't sound that bad. But yeah, I just did a feeler rep with what is typically very doable weight. Like half the stack, 100 pounds, I guess it's a little more than half. Either way, normally it's fine. I couldn't even do one. Those three just hit me like a freaking Mack truck, if you get that reference. But let's do just 60, and yeah, one squeezing set here. That will be all. Even just two, I almost didn't even do this one because I'm like, I thought those three were good. But no, this is a good finisher. And then quads can begin. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. I probably could have not done that one. I'd be all right. Those three were that nuts. But no, that was good. Hamstrings are definitely cooked now. Let's get some leg extensions started. If not as the first working set, just as a warm-up for the first working set. But we gotta see what happens. All right. So let's start leg extensions a little bit more chill. This is the same approach that I use for triceps sometimes, where, especially dieting down, it might not be in my best interest to do super heavy skull crushers. Tons of tension in the elbow, and you know, if I'm not ready for it, I'm not warm, it's just gonna freaking wreck me, you know? So if I try to throw around like, you know, more than half the stack, single leg, sure, I could move it, like my quads could handle it, but all the force from my quad also has to get into all these fancy pants fucking tendons, and if I'm not warm, it's gonna wreck me, right? It's gonna suck. Worst case scenario, I actually pull something, and then I'm really screwed, you know? So that's not what I wanna do. So especially dieting down, this set will be a little more toned. And that's not cool, you know, I know it's not like crazy, insane, fucking like Tom Platz intensity, but a little more of a hedged bet, almost. So what I'm aiming for is honestly half of a working set and half of just a good quad warm-up, right? I've touched some weight, they're moving around, but this is really gonna get the blood flow started. So I'm thinking 100 pounds, alternating single rep, or alternating single side reps. So 5 on the left, 5 on the right, back and forth, pretty much until I can't do much more substantially. But this isn't like total, complete muscular failure, because on some movements, it's like, where is that, you know? Like if I'm doing lateral raises, do I have to do failure where I just physically can't even move them at all from the bottom? Or do I get to a point where I'm like, oh, that was a good last one? And that's not rhetorical, you know, because I think someone who's kind of maybe prone to slacking a touch is going to call their sets early, right? Which isn't cool either. But I don't think every set has to be, you know, tendon destroying, and somewhere in that middle ground.
right in that sweet spot. But let's listen to a side time edit and make this shit happen. So I really want these to burn. I'm talking like I'm putting my mind into my quads and I'm trying to bend them backwards at the top of every rep. All right. Let's do a few more of those, and I go a little heavy for this next one. Yeah. Yeah. See. Ooh. Yeah. See. Yeah. See. I plan on going fucking crazy for this one. So, portion one of the set, leg extensions, if not to failure, at least close, and then spin around, instantly 3-plate Smith machine squats for as many as possible. If I only get 2, I'm cool with that. That means I can only get 2. But let me pick a better song. I gotta get real for this one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. That was, I think let's make today a little leg extension only. Ooh, so let's go back. All right, look what we got here. Look what we got here. 4 big ones loaded onto the bar. I don't know if you could hear it from the camera mic, but after that last set, I was like, all right, let's go do some leg extensions. But the ego lifter in me was like, man, fuck that shit. Or screw that crap. Sorry. And I put 4 plates on, do a feel a rep. Man, 4 plates is freaking heavy. 3 was all right. So yeah, I mean, it's not, like I don't feel extra cool going and camping out in the leg extension. Like this is the cool shit for quads, but it's just not the time. So I gotta, it's hard to say goodbye, man. I mean, I love squatting heavy. Like it's sick, but that's more of an off-season thing. That kind of sucks for me. But let's go finish pumping up on leg extensions, maybe throw in some sissy squats, see how quads are looking, and then we get out of here. Actually go to bed. It's getting freaking late. All right. So, yeah, sorry about the audio. I feel like this is one of the first times I've let the microphone die. I definitely don't do that often, but let's see how we're looking. Make sure we're still, yeah, we're good. All right, so yeah, quad-wise, I mean, even though that wasn't the wildest lift ever, that still felt pretty good. So let's see how we're looking. But yeah, so kind of pre-reveal, just standing, no flexing, no nothing, they feel pretty freaking tense. And even my hamstrings too, just like giving myself a little bit of like hamstring tensioning, they're in there too. And what that tells me is I've got at least a decent amount of hardness that's just waiting to be revealed. And you know, what's gonna reveal it? Is it magic? Or is it camping out on the cardio bike for, you know, a total of hours upon hours on freaking end? Yeah. Plus cardio and, you know, what am I saying, cardio? Calorie tracking to actually make sure that I have to burn internal energy, right, aka my body fat, in order to continue to progressively get leaner and see more cuts in my calves and my hamstrings and everything else below the waist. And when it comes to getting cut up, I think we're all decently familiar with having a lean upper body. Honestly, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but to get to a level of leanness where your legs start getting cut up, that's not an accident. Like that doesn't happen because like somebody doesn't have a huge appetite. Like you're intentionally getting yourself to that level. And that's the cool part. But I think no more talking. Let's just get in the freaking car. All done.